Hi. How are you doing? How is everything? Welcome once again to another blogging video. All right. My name is Kimini Robert, and in this video and also in other videos you probably have seen before, and the ones that are coming up, I'll be sharing how you can start a blog that actually makes money. Yes, we've heard that people are earning money online through blogging and other things online, but how do they actually do it? This is what we will be learning. You will learn how to set up your blog, turn it into a business that is actually making you money. Yes, people go online, they write and they get paid for it, they make money, they start their own business. That is what we will be learning. Everything from setting up your website, designing it and putting content there, and then advertising what you have for people so that you can make money of it. We have made a video already. I made a video, an introduction to this blogging thing. So if you have not seen it already, you can check it out on YouTube or any of our platforms or websites. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're watching it on YouTube, and also hit the like button. I appreciate it. It's going to help us grow. Thank you very much. So today we want to talk about something very important, something that most people don't know, most people don't see before they get started blogging. And but it is a very important step. Yes, many of us want to learn how to set up a website, how to start writing. But before then, there's a very important aspect of blogging that you need to get right before you can actually succeed. And that is what we want to talk about today. So yes, that's what we want to talk about today. So let's get started. So today we want to talk about niche. What is a niche? Yes, for some of you it's not quite like a niche. You're asking yourself, what am I going to write about? How am I sure that what I want to write about will work, that it will actually make me money? All right, how am I sure that I can actually write about this and make money? How is it out there? Can I actually do this? That is a question that we want to answer today. So you're probably asking yourself, what kind of niche will I go into when I start a blog? What topic am I going to write about? So that is the question we want to answer today, and this is very important. A lot depends on it. If you get this right, when you actually get this right, because that's what we'll be talking about, we'll be showing you the do's and don'ts about picking a niche. All right, just to make sure you don't make the mistakes other people make, just to make sure that you start off succeeding already. So yes, what is a niche? In simple terms, a niche is a specific focus area or topic that you will choose or have chosen for your blog or business. That's in its simplest form. That is a niche. All right, you just can't go about writing everything. You just can't go writing about everything and just anything. That's just a simple way to not succeed. That's a simple way to not succeed. But you actually need to choose a specific niche where you'll be writing on. So, and it's very important, and you need to get it right. Yes, that's it about niching. And then what are you going to write about? Yes, you know what a niche is right now, but what niche are you going to pick? What do you pick? What are you going to write about for yourself? So let's talk about that. What niche should I pick? Let's talk about that now. There are recommendations out there for you to pick a niche, and there are niche you should really do, and there are niches that you should stay clear of. All right, so that is what we want to talk about today. So what niche should you pick? Robert, what kind of niche do you recommend that I use, that I pick, so I can increase my chances of succeeding, or that I can make sure that I succeed in blogging? Now, there are a lot of things out there, but this is what I have found in years of doing blogging. And with the way things have changed in the business, here are my these are the things that I want you to consider when you are choosing a niche for your blog. All right, so before you choose a niche, you have to ask yourself questions, and this is one of the things you need to get right. Are you actively involved in that niche? That is the first thing that I want you to ask yourself. Are you actively involved in that niche? Now, I'm using this criteria so that it will be easy for you to succeed, so that you have a better chance of succeeding, because blogging now is not blogging then. All right, so you have to get these things right. Not like that's strict and all of that, but these things you have to get them right, because blogging has become a lot more competitive. It's not like then where you pick up a website, you pick up a smartphone, you start writing, and then Google picks it up, people jump on it and all of that. Blogging is actually a big business right now, and so people know about it. So if you're going to come here and do it, you have to actually do it well. So in order for you to do it well, you have to absolutely know about what you are talking about. All right, gone are those days that you just pick up a laptop, do research and write. Yes, it is possible, but starting out as a newbie, you have to know what you're doing. So are you actively involved in what you want to write about? Okay, so this is not something that you watch other people do. This is not something that you watch on TV only. It's not something that you are not actively doing. So are you actively involved in what you want to write about? Now, if you're actively involved in it, it will be easy for you to create content, because this is something you're doing every day, and then you can look at it, and ideas will come. Right, ideas will come as much as you are working on this thing. So first of all, are you actively involved in what you want to write about? Because it will make it a lot easier for you to create content. Ideas will be coming your way every day, every minute, every second. Why? Because you are involved in this thing. Secondly, can you evolve? All right, can you evolve? What happens when there is a change in the industry? Are you picking up these changes? You're picking up these changes. What happens when things have to change, when you have to move from one location to another? Can you change? For example, if you want to write about fashion, for instance, the way people dress now is not the same way people used to dress. All right, so can you actually evolve? What people call suit now, you can see that is very different from what people used to call suit. Then I think they used to call it coat or something. They didn't actually look like suits, to be fair. So can you evolve? Are you evolving with the trends in the industry? Yes, some people like to cover themselves with clothes, others don't. Even if you want to cover yourself with clothes, say you are into this fashion thing, and then you want to make clothes for people who are covering themselves. Now, you can still make designs that would cover people, but is also in tune with what is trending. All right, so can you evolve? All right, so if this is something that you're not actively doing, you're not passionate about, you are just hanging in there for no reason, just to get the money, you know, there is a good chance that you won't do well writing about it, because you have to be able to evolve. When you are evolving, it means that you can create new solutions that people can't easily find elsewhere. And if you have this in place, there is a good chance that you will succeed, because when you're creating something new constantly, your readers will love you. They will want to come back and actually read what you are doing. Why? Because you are picking up with the new trends, you are bringing up something new, you are exciting them. All right. So this is very important, and then you need to be passionate about this thing. Yeah, some people will come out and tell you, yeah, you don't need to be passionate about anything for you to do it successfully. But I tell you, if you have an understanding what passion is, and you give any importance to passion, I am telling you, it's going to help you. It's going to help you. When you're passionate about something, there is a way you do it. All right, you are interested in the quality and not just the quantity. So when you're passionate about something, you can actually do it with all your heart. You can actually be obsessed about it, which is going to help you stay in the game and move with the trend, change with the trend, and also do new things. All right, so don't forget, we are trying to get ourselves to pick a niche that we can actually do well, writing about the topics in that niche, about the tiny little subtopics that you will have in that niche. So that is another thing that you have to take into consideration. In sports, for example, in football, it used to be that we had like 2 or 3 formations. The very popular one was the 4-4-2, where you have the 9, you have the 8 if you're coming from the front, you have the 11 and 7, you have the 10 and 4, you have the 3, you have the 2, you have the 5 and 6, and then you have the 1. All right, why am I able to list this out for you without looking elsewhere? Is because I am actively involved in football. So if I were to start a blog in football now, it would be very easy for me, and I'd be able to create new content depending on what is going on in the world of football right now. All right, but now football has evolved. All right, it's not the same football like before. So whereas in the past, people used to have specific positions and they never deviate from it, but football now, it's completely different. A number 2 used to stay on the side. All right, you go to the front and then you come back. But these days, number 2s, fullbacks, actually get in the middle of the game and make things happen. All right, if you're not able to evolve and actually change and start doing those things, it's going to be hard for you to actually write content that will be useful in the changing climate. All right, even if you are into automobile, the fact is there are new cars and there are new things that people are doing, different things. You're into data, there are new softwares that are coming up with data. Can you evolve in that niche? All right, and if it's something you are constantly doing, it will be easier for you to evolve. All right, so this is very important, and I'm not just doing this off of my experience. All right, there are a lot of people in the industry who are doing what they're passionate about, who are doing what they love. For example, I think in our previous video, we talked about Sophia Lee. Actually, she's into blogging, and we also talked about Michelle, who is the owner of Making Sense of Sense. All right, so this is Michelle's this is Sophia Lee's website about interior designs and all of that. She started this website when she was in college, and this is something she has always dreamt about doing, all right, as a full-time profession, and she was also doing it in college. So she was helping people design their dorm rooms, all right, if you've ever been in the dormitory. So she was helping people with setting it up and all of that, and she had the mind that even after school she will continue doing it, all right. So I mean, if writing about something that she's doing, she didn't struggle to get pictures, she didn't struggle to get information, right? Everything was just, second nature to her, and she has made a whole lot of money. Michelle, for instance, all right, this is Michelle's website. Now this is Michelle's website. She's making yes, yeah, the last I checked, she was making over $100,000 per month from blogging, freelancing, and the rest of the stuff. Now this is a personal finance website. Why is she into personal finance? She read this in school, and then after school she actually worked in this industry, and it's part of her life. Personal finance and the rest of the things is part of her life, so it is easy for her to create content on these things and just keep it going for as long as she wants to without having any trouble making it work. All right, so based on experiences, real life experiences from people doing blogging, I would advise that you consider these things before you actually pick up, all right, a niche. It doesn't mean that you have to be certified in it. You just have to know what it is about, and you are actively involved in it. It's going to help you, especially when you're starting a new blog. Subsequently, when you know how to do blogging, you can just write about anything you want, because at that time you've probably made it, and then your risk that you're not too afraid of not succeeding. You probably have the money to take risk, all right, and see if something will work. But doing blogging for the first time, I would advise you pick a niche that is close to you, and that, in fact, let me not use the term close to you, a niche that you're actively involved in. You can evolve something you're passionate about, and also something that you're constantly getting information on. So if you're into something, there is a good chance that you will always be talking about it, you'll be reading about it, and being in that space means that you will be getting information with regards to that topic. So if you're actively involved in something, you'll be getting information about it. If you're writing about something you're passionate about and constantly doing, there is a good chance that you'll be in the know, all right? You know what's going on in the industry, if there is a new change, if there is an announcement, all right? And the other good thing about doing something you're actively involved in is that you will be informed about the changes. One of the good things is that if you are informed and you are actively evolving, there's a good chance that you will create something that has never been there in the industry before, and this is an easy way to make yourself an expert in the industry. Jeff, one of these finance bloggers, was sharing how he wrote content that he anticipated, all right, months before the real thing happened, and it happened just the way he predicted. And meanwhile, he had already created content to be a solution for these things, and when people started searching for it, he outranked even the best of the websites. So it's not about, so being actively involved and knowing what you're doing is actually very important. So I would advise that if there is something you're doing and then you find out that you've been creating solutions in that space, solutions that people don't quite pick up on, but they seem to be working, because you are involved in it, and you come up with ideas that other people have to pick up on later, or probably they don't pick up on it, but they don't pick up on it, but you see that it's working. That could be an opportunity, because there's a good chance that your talent is helping you create things that other people can't easily figure out. Your talent is helping you create solutions that other people can't easily figure out. So this will help you, in picking the right niche. Sometimes you see things that other people don't quite see, and then it will take them some time for them to learn. I mean, after you have seen it already. So it actually helps. Now, there are things that, in the space that I am in the football space that I'm in, that I see on TV, that even some of the professionals find it difficult to actually learn. And even when you try to teach it in a local environment, you see that this is also a problem. Now, this problem, has solutions depending on the style of football you play. And these are the things that you look at and say, oh, if I write something in this niche, I will have a chance, because I am a person that's creating solutions in this niche. I am evolving in this niche. I'm getting the information that I need to get on the things that are going on in this niche. So these are the things you consider when picking a niche, especially for a brand new blog. And also, because of the presence of AI now, you need to pick a niche where human beings are actively involved in, a niche where you would need a human experience to actually know what is happening, to actually create new content. Now, what's happening today is that people can actually use ChatGPT, use AI, and all of these softwares to sit down and make content. Now, so if you go about just writing about fact-based articles, things like who is the president of what and all of that, what are the top 10 this and that, yes, you can still do well in that. But if you're not writing about things that are subjective, things that are bound to change depending on location, depending on a lot of factors, things that you have to experience firsthand before you can come up with good information about it, things that involve activity, you may not be able to do well in blogging these days, because it would be easy for other people to just use a machine, an AI, to create that content and make life difficult for you. So it's advisable that you actually get into a niche that demands human experience. And AI cannot train a kid, and AI doesn't know what it feels like to I think go swimming, or an AI doesn't understand how to take a free kick. An AI doesn't understand how to make a new recipe, how would it taste, and all of that. So it's actually advisable that when you're picking a niche, you think about it. Is this a fact-based content that I want to go into? All right, every niche has a part of it that is fact-based. All I'm saying is it doesn't have to be predominantly fact-based. Most of it has to be something that you have to experience and actually do to actually create new content. All right, so if you're making videos, if you're writing about something, if it is something that needs human experience, your chances of succeeding in today's world of blogging go way up. So the next thing you want to consider when picking a niche is can you monetize it? All right, are there products and services that people are buying and selling in that niche? All right, when we talk about promotion, we will learn what affiliate marketing is, display ads, and the rest of the stuff. So we learn about these things. So you know about monetization. But even before then, are people buying and selling things in that industry? All right. So that is what you should ask yourself about. Yes, a lot of people have talked about, is it, the cost of the products and services in that niche. Because there are many ways to monetize a blog, I wouldn't want you leaving out your best niche simply because you can't have affiliate marketing products that are pricey. Because we see things like, if your niche demands that you sell books, okay, it may be difficult to make good money in that niche, if you're talking about books. But if you actually know what you are doing, you may not be selling books. You can actually create a product that is useful to readers, that is not quite, that is something that you can sell and make money. So if you know what you're talking about, there is a good chance that you'll be able to create a product, sometimes an info product, I mean a digital copy of a product that you can give to people or sell to them to actually make money. So, but there has to be some, but there has to be some buying and selling going on in the industry, and it is better if there are good products that you can sell in that industry. All right, so these are the things you want to consider when picking a niche, and also traffic. All right, I don't think that there is a niche that is so tiny that there is no traffic, unless you have narrowed it down so much that it becomes difficult to get traffic. If you are talking about recipe culinary stuff, there is a good chance that although cooking is a very competitive niche, it's not quite advisable to start off your blog writing about these very competitive niches or topics or areas. But there's probably a part of cooking that you could do. All right. Yes, we will share examples of niches that you can do, just to make sure it's easier for you to pick a niche. So for example, yes, cooking. So you have to pick a niche where there is traffic. You have to pick a niche where you will be sure that people will come to read what you are writing about. Sometimes people make the mistake of picking niches where nobody will actually read about what they're writing about. For example, let's say you come from a place and you come from a place of about 10,000 people, and you know something that will be beneficial to the 10,000 people in that area, and you think that you have a niche. You're going to have a problem monetizing that. In fact, you're going to have a problem getting traffic to that niche. All right, so the other thing you want to look at is, can this niche, can what I want to write about reach a wide audience? Can it reach a large amount of people, not just in my locality but beyond that? This will increase your chances of actually making money in that niche, as long as the competition is something that you can deal with. All right, as long as you're not competing with people like Yahoo, with people that have succeeded in the industry, like big brands in that industry, as long as you're not competing directly. All right, because there's always a part of a niche that you can sneak into that all these big brands have not yet touched. All right, as long as you're not directly competing with them from the start, you can always you can always write about something that's reaching a wider audience and not just people in your locality. All right, say you are writing about something that will help people of your dialect only. Yes, English is global, but some if what you're talking about is only helpful to people in your dialect, yeah, it's going to be difficult for you to succeed, because even if people come, there won't be much. Even if people come to your website, there won't be much of it. All right, so don't make this mistake of thinking that simply because a niche is easy you should jump into it. You should consider how many people you could reach with this niche that you you want to get into. Okay, yeah, and that is that. There are niches that you should avoid. All right, yes, we have talked about niches that you should pick. You're free to pick anything that you want to pick and write about, but there are niches that you should avoid. The first of them is the YMYL niches that fall into this category. You shouldn't write about. You want to think twice before you actually go to write about things in this niche. Yes, what is YMYL? Yeah, YMYL, this is your money, your life. Your money, your life. These are niches that are sensitive, niches that could cause people harm if they actually consume the wrong information. Example, things like health, things like legal matters, things like yes, Hrefs has actually listed it out here for us. Topics that are sensitive, things like news and current events. Yeah, this is according to Google, because Google is like the major search engine that we will be using to get traffic to our website. So according to Google and other major search engines and sources, your money, your life topics include things that are related to news and current events. You don't want to be giving people the wrong information on these subjects, and because Google want to remain as a good source of information, they actually only promote news and current events from websites that they actually trust. All right, YMYL niches also involve civics, government, and law. You have to be involved in these things before you can know what you're talking about. Finance, right? Investing, banking, and all of that. These things could make people lose money, and it could affect them in a big way. So you don't want just anybody wandering off the streets and talking about these things simply because it makes money. Yes, finance websites actually make a lot of money, so it also means that many people want to write about it simply because it's making money. But yes, it falls into the YMYL category, which means that you have to be an expert. You need to be an authority before you can get into the finance niche. And then there is the shopping. Yeah, this shopping, before you won't have any problem doing the shopping things, but right now we know that people can sell all manner of things, so shopping is involved in this YMYL thing. Yeah, health and safety, drugs, medical stuff about hospitals and the rest of them. These are the ones involved in the health and safety space, and it is under the YMYL category. So you don't want to get into these things. Now, this does not mean, yes, I'll talk about it later. This does not mean that you cannot write about these things completely. It means that you just have to be a practicing expert in this area, someone that actually has a verifiable identity before Google can allow you function, right? And other, not just Google, other sources, other online platforms can allow you to function freely in this niche. There is a health and there is a safety. You can't go about selling drugs to people, selling medical advice to people when you do not know the side effects, when you haven't practiced medicine. All right, there is the yes, we have people writing about it, people selling drugs on the internet when they know nothing about how these drugs will react and all of that. And I mean, these guys, most of them are into fraud, all right? Yes, we know this, yeah, covering up with all sorts of things. But yes, you cannot succeed in that space online without being a practicing person. And if you're not a practicing person, then there is something very wrong going on that you are covering up. Also, groups of people like races, nationality, and the stuff, and the rest of the things, things that can be offensive to a particular group of people, or a group of people that is involved in some, terms that could arouse fighting, religious aspects of people's lives, and the rest of the stuff. So you may think twice about going into senses. That doesn't mean you can't write about Christianity, Muslim, and stuff. It just means that stay away from things that would bring issues, things that will offend people, and the rest of the things. And then there are other things like fitness and nutrition. Yes, finding a job, referring people to the wrong source for a job is a big thing. All right, we've heard that people have gotten themselves into trouble by following the wrong sites to try to look for the wrong website to try to look for a job. So Google is actually very careful about allowing a website to come into the space and share information about this type of things. So you need to be an expert in these things before you can actually go into it. All right, so here's what Google is saying. Google is saying that you do not need to be like some formal expert, like you went to school, you studied this and all of that. Google is saying that some topics require formal expertise. Many people write extremely detailed, helpful reviews of products, and yeah, all right, and people share tips and all of that. Now Google is saying, if it seems as if the person creating the content has the type and amount of life experience to make him or her an expert in that field, we will value this everyday expertise. All right, so Google values everyday expertise. So you don't need to be certified in something, but if you have the expertise that can give solution to people and keep them coming back for more information, more useful stuffs, yes, you can go into that industry. One thing I just want to say right now is that if you are going into blogging, whether it's YMYL or not, one thing that will help you succeed very much is if you have a verifiable identity. All right, in the YMYL space, if you want to talk about law, are you a certified lawyer? Do you have a law firm that you can link to? Do you have a law firm? Do you have a business where people can actually call you and get to find you? Do you have this verifiable identity? If you have this, it will be easier for you to get into the YMYL niche. That being said, it takes longer for you to succeed in the YMYL niche than it is with other types of topics. And then you need to build good authority for you to succeed in the YMYL niche. So it's advisable that whenever you can, you steer clear of the YMYL area. So let's just move on to the next thing. Choosing a tiny niche. All right, the second thing, you don't want to be choosing a very tiny little niche. Like I mentioned, choosing these tiny little niches would mean that you don't have enough people for you to give information to, and the more people you have, the more amount of money you can make. And so if you pick a niche that is too small, that you can't give out information to enough people, then you won't quite succeed making money. Yes, but that contradicts what we said earlier you should start small. Yes, start small and then expand. This is better than starting big and having to fail and having to delete lots of content on your website and trying to start small. All right, so start small, gain authority in whatever it is you're writing about. So in that small space, you should be known for what you're doing in that small space, and then from there you can expand, you can grow. Now, these things don't just happen in one day. Becoming an authority in a place, it doesn't just happen in one day. And another thing is with picking a domain name. I think, yes, we will make a separate video for choosing a domain name, the things to consider for picking a domain name. Although you can always pick a domain name easily, but one thing you need to consider: don't narrow down your domain name too much that when you have to expand, it will become a problem. All right, so don't do things like should I say something like 15-inch Windows 8 laptops.com. I mean, that even looks big. 15-inch Windows 10 laptops.com, because there are a lot of things you can write about that. But I believe you get the point. Don't do something that is too narrow, that when it is time to expand, and it's not just picking a website, even if you're picking a business name, don't pick a business name where let's say you pick a business name, something like foods. Let's say you're doing bread, and you go something like victorbreads.com. What happens when you decide to do cakes? What happens when you decide to do yogurts and ice creams and the rest of the things? It's going to be difficult for you to fit this into the company name. All right, so you want to do things like Victor Foods. I mean, it is way better, which means that even after you're done doing bread, if you want to expand into other kinds of food, you can always do it. All right, don't do things like Victor coffee. Do something like beverage, so that for whatever drink you want to go into, you can always go into, and you won't have any problem. All right, yes. So don't do things like laptop screens, right? laptopscreens.com. What happens when you decide and want to write about TV screens? What happens when you want to write about phone screens? And because there is a good chance that you will have an idea of how lots of these screens work. So when you're picking a domain name, try to stay in an area where if you want to expand, you can easily expand. And the other thing, like we said, competition, right? Competition. All right, so the next thing you want to consider is competition. How competitive is the space? All right, so don't start off, you can get into a niche where you have top people doing something in it, but when you start off in a space where you don't have that much competition, so that you can easily come out and start succeeding in that space. Now, considering all these things, considering all the niches that you need to avoid, what kind of niches should you pick? What are the examples of the niches that you can pick, that you can write about and not have trouble? Right, there are lots and lots of niche examples that you can write about, and that is what we want to consider right now. Now we have a good friend online who made it who took it upon himself to actually make a list of things that you can get into, whether you want to write about them, whether you want to talk about them on YouTube. This is a list of things that you can get into and write about without any trouble. Yes, we said that, we've talked about these YMYL niches. It's difficult to break into them. And so yes, the next question is going to be like, what things then can I actually successfully write about without getting into trouble? Don't fret that there are a ton of niches, there are a ton of things that you can still write about. We have 8 billion people in the world, and don't be surprised that there is always something out there for you to write about, that where you can write about and actually make money off of it. And if that is not enough, we have new things coming up in the world, where people will need information on to actually do well in, to survive. So there is passiveincomegig.com. His name is Morten Stuttgart. So he's done this good job of listing out. He's an passive income builder. He has a YouTube channel, Passive Income Gig. So if you Google that, you can find him. You can actually follow him and learn from him. All right. So Morten Stuttgart put together this list for anyone who wants to start a blog for free. So yeah, and that's the thing with creating content and whatever you want to do. Spending time to create something that has already been created already, you don't score points for that. Nobody gives you money for that. All right. So if there is something that you can leverage on and then make reference and then add in what you can add into it, it's better. Consider if everybody writing code now had to create their own code from scratch. I mean, we wouldn't have the type of world we have now. We wouldn't have the type of software we have, the type of computer systems. We wouldn't have the development in technology that we have right now. All right. So that is just a thing. You can always leverage on something that has been created already, as long as you don't abuse the copyright terms and everything to actually do something wonderful. So thanks, Morten, for this list. So these are like 228 niches available that you can actually start. And I know this is not just all of it. There are a lot of things out there in the world that you can write on, and there are hobbies, there are board games. So if you can always check out this list, it is online. I go to passiveincomegig.com. You can actually find this list, and if you can't find it, please drop a comment in the group on YouTube and I will help you. I'll send a link to you. There are board games, there is chess, there is radio, there is photography, there is dancing, coffee, fixing of cars, fixing of whatever you want to fix. There is writing, there is ancestry, there is flying. I mean, in these hobbies, there is a ton of things that you can write about. There is chess, all right, and then there is the professions. I really like the fact that he even went ahead to categorize them and not just put them out there. So you can talk about acting, you can talk about ironworks, you can talk about teaching, engineering, there is software, I mean a whole lot of them, hairdressing, farming, real estate, journalism, tailoring, and the rest of them. And then there is lifestyle, coffee, grilling, BBQ, comedy, consulting, exercising, yoga, freelancing. I mean, these are niches. What are you good at? Where can you fit in? I mean, what can you actually do right now? So you have a lot of options here to choose from. There's Lego building, there is railroads, there is welding, there are lots of DIYs. There is outdoor hiking, fishing, running, flying kites, scout stuff, and the rest of the stuff. BMX sports, there is arch, and then we have sports. There is archery, there is basketball, soccer, which is my stuff. There is climbing, there is board sports, there is skiing, kayaking, canoeing, polo. I mean, there are all kinds of stuff that you can write about. Yes. And then we come to crafts. There is quilting, there is sewing, patchwork, knitting, just about any kind of thing. There are 8 billion people in the world, and there are lots of people using smartphones. All right, so there are 6.92 billion using smartphones. All right, can you imagine that number? All right, and this number is only going to increase, because every person you meet out there just wants to buy a smartphone, just wants to go on the internet. All right, so there is a, I don't know how to put it. Like, there is wealth online that you can tap into and actually create your space and make your money. The only question is, are you ready to work hard at it and make it work? All right, and then there is art, drawing, painting, there is pets, travel, there is pets. You can talk about your dog and everything about it. Fish, and all of that. There is insurance in pets and everything. Then there is travel. If you're just traveling around the world doing things, you can also start a niche on that. And it's not just text. I like to repeat this. You can do videos on these things. In fact, it's even better right now to actually do videos when doing blogging. It's really useful and helpful. There is gardening, flowers, trees, games, landscaping. There is entertainment. There is and then there is tech. You can talk about smart homes. You can talk about the Internet of Things, programming, camera gear, and just about anything you want to talk about. All right, so that is that. So there are a lot of niches that you can pick from. I hope that from what we've talked about today, you can actually feel more confident about picking a niche. Right now, you can feel better about picking a niche without being afraid of what you're doing, because right now you have all the information you need. You know what niches to avoid, and then you know what you should consider when picking a niche in order for you to succeed in the world of blogging. All right, once again, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please, if this video helped you in any way, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more helpful content. So that is that. Have any questions, drop them in the comment section, and if you're in the group, you drop them in the group and I'll do well to answer them by God's grace. Thank you very much. Have a good time.